Let me tell you, depression is real. I'm going to share with you a story from my childhood in school, which led to trauma, which led to depression, and something that almost happened to me. Gotta hear this story. If you want to hear it, stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's me, James. Many of you may know me from the Journey with James series that I've been doing since maybe 2012, maybe earlier. But I would give like quick inspirational videos, motivational encouragement, different things like that, just about journeying through life. But I never really got in detail as I'm going to be in detail tonight or today. I want to talk about a little bit about depression. And the reason I want to talk about it is because this is the biggest thing that may be going on right now in this world due to the pandemic that we have dealt with for more than a year now. And it seems like we're coming out of this whole pandemic situation. We're relaxing some of the rules. We're relaxing some of these things that was holding us back and keeping us in our homes and different things like that. So there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel, but it does not neglect the fact that some damage may have been done or some things may have been done to traumatize you or put you in depression because of everything that's been going on. People get traumatized when all these events are going on in our lives and around the world. People get traumatized from different situations in their life and they get depressed. So I just want to let you know that I truly understand where you're coming from. Just want to make sure my mic was on. But I truly understand where you're coming from, and I understand that you can get through it. But it's some days you just want to give up, and that's the thing that has happened to me. I'm gonna take it back to my childhood because I have dealt with a lot of childhood traumas, and thank God for therapy, thank God for counseling, because that's been such a big help for me in peeling off layers of trauma that I've had in my life and making me a better person. And so I always want to say this to you guys, that it is nothing in the world wrong with going to see a therapist. As a matter of fact, I believe that you show yourself to be strong when you can admit that there's some things I have to work on. I didn't ask for these traumas to come into my life. However, I know I need to deal with these traumas because they can affect my life. It can affect things in my life. It can affect people in my life. It can affect so many different aspects and facets of your life if you don't deal with it effectively. So for me, I've been in counseling on and off for the last 5 years. And it has been such a blessing for me because, yes, I'm a Christian man. Yes, I'm a man of God, and I love God dearly. And I spend time with God, and I have a relationship with God, But God also sends people to help you guide you through as well. And so God coupled with therapy has been a blessing for me. But God is first. I'm going to let that be known. God is first because we need to put him first. And sometimes we don't do that. And there's been times in my life that I will allow the temporary pleasures of what I like that is sinful. I will go to those things only to feel whole and to feel good for the moment. But when that moment is gone, you go back in cycles. You go back to the very thing that you said you wouldn't go back to because you're so busy searching for and looking for that satisfaction. But you need that everlasting satisfaction. So it's only temporary pleasure for eternal pains. And the only one that can deal with eternal pains is God. And so I'm learning and growing and knowing and understanding that it's only God that can get me through the vices that I struggle with. That can get me through the depression that I feel. It can get me through those traumas that I dealt with and deal with. It's only God. And so I hope that you are blessed by what I have to say, and maybe you can relate to it. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe to Code J Wilkes. Tell people about it because this is going to be a place of being real and authentic, and a place of sharing some things that's been on my journey and more in depth, in hopes that it will help you. And I want to hear your stories. Let's help each other. That's what it's all about. And so I take you back to my childhood. I remember being bullied in middle school. Now, some people may not remember this. I have a friend that I knew from middle school, who's still one of my best friends today. We talk nearly every day. And he reminded me that, of course, he was a friend of mine, and I had a couple other friends, but I was very, 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 I guess, timid and quiet and to myself and lonely and depressed. And I realized it was because of the traumas that I had dealt with from my my household earlier, years earlier, prior, seeing my mother get abused by that stepfather, not the stepfather that I have now, but a previous stepfather, just seeing the abuse and then seeing the abuse that was dealt with me. And so all those things led to traumas in my life. And so by the time I got to middle school, I was really, I always say I was a extrovert or introvert, not by choice actually, and that I was a loner by choice. Was because I didn't really know who I was. I didn't really love myself. And so I put myself in a corner, and I felt like everybody had something to say about me. I felt like everybody was laughing at me. And it affects me today. And I feel like I was like, somebody laughing at me? What are they laughing at? Because I always thought I was a laughing stock. And so I realize now today I'm just a comedian. I'm a funny guy. But with that said, those childhood traumas are being laughed at and joked on and talked about. And, you feel like you're the nice guy. It really affected me as an adult. And so I had to be careful in understanding that everybody's not laughing at me. Everybody has something funny to say about me or talk about me behind my back. I have to know that I am secure in who I am and that I love myself enough to not even care if they were. And so God has been dealing with me with that. But with all that said, I remember in middle school having this bully. I vaguely remember his name, but he was horrible to me. He would always terrorize me. It seemed like he would find me in the hall or something. He'll say something to me, say I'm gonna get you out after school, or he'll call me out of my name. He'll call me gay, or he'll call me a sissy. He'll say my clothes look old fashioned. I had cross colors on. Because at the time my mother had hand-me-downs that I had. So I had purple pants, gold pants, white pants. I had every color pants you can name. But I can tell you one thing, I was dressed to the nine no matter what. But with all that said, I had to endure that at school for so long, and it just depressed me so bad. It just put me in a place of further trauma. And so I remember this like it was yesterday. I went home crying to my mom, and I told her, I said, I wanted to die. I had suicidal thoughts. I really wanted to end my life. Why? Because there was no reason. I felt like I didn't need to be here. Nobody loves me anyway. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to be my friend. Nobody wants to give me the time of day. I'm just the most ugliest duckling ever. And so what is the worth of me being here? And see, what I didn't understand was that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made by God. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that there are people out there that love me and it'd be selfish of me to take my life. I didn't understand that all I wanted to do was end my life because I was tired of the pain that I was enduring at such a young age. I was tired of feeling so less than. But I realized something, that if I would have spoke up a little bit more, if I didn't look so timid, if I wasn't so act so lonely, then maybe it would have been a different state. But it was the trauma from the beginning, years prior, that caused me to be the way I was in middle school. And in middle school, people, they gravitated to that. They saw me as a weakling, so they would mess with me, especially that one person who was that bully. He would mess with me, and it just trickles down. It gets like a domino effect. It gets bigger and bigger because I didn't deal with it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand me. And so that traumatized me. And I remember my mom holding me. She was just holding me, and the tears were just flowing. It's like I can remember it like it's yesterday. And she told me how much she loves me, and that I'm a hero, and that I am worth it. And so I miss her today. She's not here. She's been gone from this world about maybe 5 or 6 years now. But I remember that moment and how she embraced me with love. And so I see that it's so important to be embraced with love, because I felt like I didn't have that love from certain people in my life. People were in and out of my life growing up. They were there for me a few minutes, for a few. They get tired. I felt like they got tired of me and they left me and didn't love me. Grown adults and people who were supposed to be family and different things like that. And so I just had this whole thing of just being a person with low self-esteem. But that was the most traumatic experience I've had, and I can still remember the bully. I can still see, I sort of see his face, and I can see the different places I was. I was at Craddock Middle School when this all occurred, and many people don't know that, but yeah, those things occurred, and it just done something to me. And so I say all that to say, I realized that I had to really think and be honest with myself and figure out the root of the problems that I was having as an adult. And counseling helped that. And what I had to realize is hey, I had to go back to that moment in that childhood when I felt a certain way, and when I got when I got abused, both sexually and physically. I had to go to those moments, and I had to ask God, why? Where were you, Lord? Were you there? Because did you protect me? And I feel like he's saying he was always there, and that he was always protecting me, and that he had a special covering for me, and that he loved me. And what just solidified that for me was the fact that I was still there. I was still here, and I'm still here, and that I'm able to even say that to God, because I could be dead and gone. And so I had to be grateful for where I was and let go of where I was and be thankful where I'm at, is what I'm trying to say. But with all that said, I realized that big trauma right there was the center of the reasons why I didn't love myself enough in my early 20s, when I didn't feel like I was worthy of people, friendships, relationships, different things like that. I just dealt with so much pressure of wanting to please people because I wanted that love. And I felt like if I didn't do what they asked or do this and that, then they didn't love me anymore. But let me tell you, you may be dealing with that right now. You may be struggling with that, people pleasing. You may be struggling with some childhood traumas that's causing you to feel like you're less than. But let me tell you, you can get through. Today, as a 38-year-old, I am so much better than I was. I'm still a process, because we're not perfect, and we're always continuing to be better versions of ourselves. But I can tell you, just looking back, I truly love myself. I truly believe that I'm a handsome young man. Didn't believe all those things at first. I truly believe that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And I truly believe that I am of significance and I'm worth it, just like anybody else in this world. But I had to be careful when it comes to different things that may trigger trauma. You got to be careful, because the enemy will try to attack. But you got to continually remind yourself who you are and whose you are in Christ Jesus. Hey, I'm a child of God. I am a Christian. So this is my story. Whatever your story is, you have to understand, for me, it's God. And for you, it can be God too. So let me just tell you, I'm better than I was, but I know that the enemy can mess with me. And so for you out there who may be going through that, who have those ups and downs, let me tell you, don't ever, ever give up on yourself. We all feel depressed at times. We all have those moments. Some of us have those moments where we feel like, oh my goodness, it's just too much for me. But let me tell you, never give up on yourself. Suicide is not the answer. And yes, I've had suicide thoughts even in my 30s. Not too long ago, I would say, because of different things that was going on in my life. And as time goes, we'll talk more elaborate on it. Because I felt like people didn't really listen to me. They assume a lot of things about me. Even today, some people don't like me, and they like me because based on what they perceive, but they don't know the full story. They don't know a lot of things. So with that said, I have to deal with the fact that there are people that don't like me. There are people that feel a way about me. And I have to own the fact that this is reality. No matter what, people are going to talk about you. But you have to remind yourself, as I said before, whose you are and who you are in Christ. And understand that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, that you're significant, that you're worth it, and that you're somebody. So don't allow your past mistakes, don't allow depression and trauma from your childhood to affect where you are today. Do the work to heal, and to heal properly. I just did a podcast not too long ago with an author and prophet named Justin Danner. He has a new book out about defeating his giants. And one of the biggest things is what he talked about that is so important is knowing when you're healed. You're healed when you can talk about the subject that happened to you and you don't feel any ways. I'm healed from the part about the abuse that I endured from my childhood. It doesn't hurt anymore. However, I still deal with some things that I still have to overcome that still gives me a ways. I feel emotional when I talk about it. But it just shows me that it's all a process, but that I can't give up on myself. I can't take my life. I can't allow depression to defeat me. But I have to do something about it. And so a lot of times with depression, we don't want to be bothered. But I'm going to tell you, try your best to speak out, because there are people that love you. Look at me clearly. You are significant. Okay, you are significant. You're worth it, and life is not over. You may feel like you haven't arrived this, and you haven't gotten that, and you haven't done this and that. Trust me. Stay in God's face. Stay faithful. Trust in Him. Trust in your abilities, and just know that it's going to happen for you. But you got to stay focused. Don't give up, okay? And so I hope to share more stories and more insights and more transparency in hopes that it helped you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you want to talk about? Got any questions or any concerns or whatever? Let me know in the comments. And be sure to like and subscribe to this page so you would always, and hit that notification bell so you'll always get a notification when I post, because I plan to post a lot more. It's Code J Wilkes. I'm J Wilkes. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.